Of course, she will. She will get a bounce from it. The Republicans are also falling apart. Okay. What is frustrating about this is like this is like the Labour victory in the UK. Okay. You have a good opportunity because you are against an objectively weak candidate. Here's the 3-minute ad right now.
Start with a couple of things that I think she did absolutely right or that are improving for her. First of all, the podium presence is really good. I didn't think much of her public speaking before, but since she's gotten into this race, she's only been behind a podium, and she did that well tonight. So from a plausibility perspective, what you expect to see out of a president, she absolutely did that.
It is a sea change from what she was in 2020.
It's a lot. Well, even what she has been during the Biden years, she's not been that steady on her feet. But behind the podium, off a prompter, in a big speech, she obviously can do it.
Trumps have your
Number
energy?
two,
No, the fact that I only slept for
matter, she looks young.
The fact that I only
coherent.
slept for
She seemed calm.
2 hours
So
last night is that my energy.
Right? I mean, that's what was the problem with the Democratic campaign. He was none of those three things, and now she puts that on. Now, the Republican pushback, and I think there's some truth to this, is that some of this is just substanceless pablum, that there's really no specificity in it, and that they ultimately think they are going to be able to fire her as the incumbent. And I think that's the question that we're really going to be answering over the next couple of months. How far can she run away from Joe Biden, the Republicans, from portraying her as the incumbent and then firing her as the incumbent? The country is off on the wrong track. People believe it. They still have economic anxiety. Can she shake off those vibes and replace them with this sort of esoteric unity vibe that they've been portraying at the convention?
But I think when you said that last night, you were on very solid ground. I don't think today you're on solid ground. This was substantive all night long. The policy on immigration, policy on foreign policy, policy on gun.
Van Jones wearing a Return Our Hostages pin, also advocating for Kamala Harris's foreign policy that he liked. Also, right-wing border bill that he also liked.
On climate, on the care economy. This was not all sizzle. This was sizzle plus real steak. And by the way, I think we both
Did he not even mention abortion? That's like the one thing like that.
have to say, when the way she dealt with Israel and the way she dealt with Gaza, tough in defense of Israel, but also compassion to the Palestinians. There's sizzle and there's steak tonight.
Agree with you on Israel. I thought that paragraph was good. The issue you didn't list in your bullets, the economy and inflation, I still think at the end of the day, the people are so upset with Biden and Harris on the economy. If the Republicans tie her to it, all of the other stuff falls away because it's the most important issue.
We heard things from her that we don't normally hear from a Democratic candidate in a speech like this. She talked about maintaining the strongest and most lethal fighting force in the world, and went on to say, about never disparaging their sacrifices, obviously reference to the many reports about what Donald Trump has said.
Yeah,
but just even talking about the lethality of our fighting forces is language you don't normally hear.
Right. No, this was a very muscular speech. And look, the whole hallmark of the Trump candidacy, when you lay it bare, is he's strong. He's strong, and that was the advantage he had over Joe Biden. She showed strength on that stage tonight, and I think that she has cut his advantage there. She looked like a president on that stage. I also wanted to mention Audie's point was so important. To me, having done this for a while,
Van Jones is one of the only few notable figures that went to the Zionist AF party. Just a fun fact.
Biography is really, really important because it's the way in which people take the measure of whether they can believe what you're saying. And the way she told the story of her own life and her own choices gives people some confidence that the commitments she's making are genuine commitments. And then the last point I wanted, Scott, your point about Biden and the strategy of the Republicans, which I understand it to be reasonable strategy, to try and saddle her with some of the negatives that Biden has. It is really interesting how little she mentioned Joe Biden in this speech. In certain ways, this was her declaration of independence.
I agree with that.
And she became her own person in this speech. And I've told you before, we'll see how this turns out. I think you're going to have a hard time saddling her in the way that you guys are hopeful that you can.
Well, she still flies around on Air Force Two. I mean, but that's the race, and it's going to take place in a truncated period of time. Can she get away from him, or can Donald Trump and his campaign apparatus drive home the point that there's no blank slate here, that this is a person who's been right next to Joe Biden executing on the policies that you say have driven you crazy over the last 4 years? And there's really just a simple question for Trump to ask. If you're upset about the direction of the country, maybe you don't put the people in charge who are already in the White House. I don't know who's going to win that race, but to me, between now and the debate on September 10th, that is the argument that's going to be had between these two juggernaut campaigns.
I think that Kamala Harris has done something. She's not just going to get away from Biden, which I think that she can do now penalty-free. Penalty-free. She has this party behind her, but she's doing something. She's fixing some problems on the left. This whole thing has been an implicit critique of problems that we've had on the left. The left before we walked in here was about justice, diversity, trigger warnings, reparations for the past, and a bunch of party poopers and scolds. That was the knock on the left. We have gone from talking about justice, which is wonderful, but now it's about freedom. It's not just about diversity, it's about patriotism. It's not just about trigger warnings. In fact, that's gone. It's tough, tough, tough. Reparations for the past? No. Fight for the future. Party poopers? No. We legalize fun. We legalize fun. We put the party back in the Democratic
God, Van Jones is so bad.
Party. And so this is a remolding of the genetic makeup of what the progressive movement is. These guys want to fight not just Biden in the past, they want to fight this sort of anti-woke war against a left that just died in here and something new just got born. The Kamala Harris Democrats are a different thing for you guys to fight.
I'm not sure the left is going to go down as easy as you think, but I agree with your chart, and I did want to pick up on one word that you wrote, and that's patriotism.
Yes, sir.
I do think that Republicans should pay attention to what happened in this hall tonight and the power of patriotism. It is a powerful thing. I made a snarky quip about it earlier, but what I was noticing was the American flags, the number of them, everybody had one. Towards the end of the speech, they had large American flags. There is something very symbolic about a waving American flag, the red, white, and blue, especially when you consider what we've seen out of the left on the streets of America and on the campuses of America.
Oh my God. Of course, the Republican strategist on the CNN panel is like, that's right. At least we can all get together and talk about what we actually hate. Ass goddamn leftists who hate America. Okay? All right, let's all get together, man. No counterforce whatsoever, dude. Two patriot parties, two nationalist parties. YOLO, Nazi Germany time. Okay? Great. Wonderful. I know that this kind of sentiment that I'm expressing will obviously piss off a lot of people. Okay? I'm sure that this will be like, what do you mean, dude? It's just like you're loving your country, whatever. Like, no, it's great. We need to have a muscular military, you know? We need to have a lethal military, more lethal military. I mean, how can I see this as anything but like the Democratic Party actively trying to push aside the left and pick up votes from what they believe is the center and center right and Republicans in general? Like, and they're celebrating it. They're literally celebrating it over here. They're like, it's almost like a sigh of relief. They're like worried. It's like they were worried that Kamala Harris was going to be, it's like they're worried that Kamala Harris was going to be like somewhat radical. And by radical, I mean like the way that Republicans use that term. But now she showed everybody that she's not that person. She's going to be moderate. She's going to be right wing on a lot of shit. And it's just like, we're just creeping towards fascism.
America. Over the last several months, you didn't really pick that up in the hall, but there is something interesting about it, and it was powerful.
Vice President Harris stuck almost completely to script. She spoke exactly on time.
No, it's not Obama 2.0. Obama 1.0 was literally way more progressive on his messaging. What are you talking about? Obama, a very powerful orator, was able to tie together a progressive message of change and hope while simultaneously saying, I'm doing this for everybody, okay? Not for red America, blue America. I'm doing this for all America. That was a phenomenal way to message a radical agenda, an agenda that would be considered radical. Also, he did that as a black man, okay? That's insane. Like the level of charisma that he got from that is insane. Nate Silver saying Kamala's already getting a quantifiable convention bounce. Yeah, of course. She will get a bounce from it. The Republicans are also falling apart, okay? What is frustrating about this is like this is like the Labour victory in the UK. Okay. You have a good opportunity because you are against an objectively weak candidate. You have a good opportunity to actually move the needle, to actually permanently solidify the Democratic Party as the party of progress, as the party of labor, as the anti-war party, right? I mean, it's like a laughable notion to even put those words together because, like, I don't believe that there's even anyone remotely interested ideologically in being committed to such a message, okay? But there is an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to also bring forward voters that have completely checked out, okay? That have completely checked out of the process because they're like, yeah, neither party represents my interests. I don't give a fuck. I just want to be able to eat, okay? I just want to be able to eat. I want to be able to eat food. I want a roof over my head. And I don't want my landlord to me, right? And these are normal things that most people are worried about. Overwhelming majority of Americans are worried about, okay? Problem is, if the Democratic Party took advantage of the situation right now with how objectively weak the Republicans are, okay, and put forward like a FDR style, Obama style message of change and hope, FDR style policies, they could run the table for the next multiple decades. Obviously, they don't want to do that because that goes against the interests of their corporate donors. They're still completely captive to their corporate donors. There's no better representation of that reality than what took place. Hasan's a landlord. Yeah, I'm my own landlord of myself every night. So you are right. Point is, this is not just about winning this election, okay? This is about generational change. And the Democratic Party has the capacity to do that. They just don't have the willingness and the interest to do that. And they're too worried about their corporate donors that they will leave aside the easiest gimmies, like the Israel stuff, okay? That's the easy one. Only wins, no negatives there. The only negative is like maybe you're a little worried about your corporate donors, okay? You might be a little worried about that, and that's the reason why you don't want to move in that direction. But ultimately, if they cared about like winning over every constituency they can, that's what they would do. Anyway,
there's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. But most of all, that instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message. Here's a few things.
Dems were promoting a ton of progressive policies before the convention. They still are. There is no demonstrated attack to the right besides immigration and foreign. Bro, did you not listen to the DNC speeches? Did you not listen to Kamala Harris's DNC speech? Like, why the f she coming out with that then? Like, you think that also those are the major attacks to the right? I did. They're still on the same policies. Oh my God. Dude, you need to understand something. Okay? No mention of trans people. It's not even that. Like, protecting trans people is a given. Okay? Like, if they drop that, then there's no division between them and the Republican Party, even on a culture war front. Like, holy shit. It's just that the economic proposals they were talking about before the DNC, I know. That's why I'm frustrated. Because leading up to the DNC, they were like, no, we're going to do price caps. Dude, look at my videos before the DNC and then look at my videos after the DNC. Okay? Let's look. Getting kicked out of the DNC. This is very, very bad. Democrats need to listen to them. Uncommitted delegates. Cringe at the DNC. Okay? This is all like DNC shit. Now look before. Kamala unveils economy plan. I'm soy facing. Do you want to know why I'm soy facing? Conservatives are afraid of walls. I'm laughing. There's laughter in these thumbnails. JD Vance is pathetic. Okay? There's one brief moment. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's VP pick is perfect. Look at that. Look at that. Ben is panicking after Tim Walz's VP pick. Look at that. All positive. Why? Because the policies were sound. Okay? The policies were sound and they were relatively progressive. Look at that. There's joy. There's joy in a lot of these. There's joy in a lot of these videos. I'm noticing you get more views the more libbed up you seem. Of course, dude. I would be a liberal commentator as well. And I'd be an even better Republican. I'd be probably a better liberal commentator than a Republican one. But like, still, I know. That's probably why there's more people in here recently in the chat. And that's probably why there's more people in here that are angry nowadays. Okay? The problem is... The problem is that they didn't highlight any of those policies at the DNC, bro. They didn't highlight anything. They didn't focus on any of that. The only time people talked about policies was when Bernie Sanders was up there. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just like, I know it doesn't need saying, but stay true to your convictions, dude, is so valuable. Yeah, I mean, obviously I will. But I'd rather just have truth and joy not directed to you a lot of the speeches. My point is, I think that they should stick to progressive They should stick to progressive policies. This way, I believe that they will be able to actually open up a serious gap between themselves and the patently unlikable Trump. People have already made up their minds on Trump. Okay? They already know. This presents a unique opportunity. If you run with the nothing will fundamentally change campaign, which is what the DNC and what Kamala Harris was showcasing last night, that's not good. Okay? That's not good at all. That's very bad. You also are leaving the race up to chance. If you go out there and hit the Obama, not the Obama nostalgia, okay? It's Sorkin again in America. Not the Obama nostalgia, but like the Obama kind of campaigning. You can win over Obama constituencies. Like keep building on the momentum that you got. But we are too used to sedating ourselves with this notion that like the average American is actually genuinely allergic to progressive campaigns, progressive policies, that they hate it. And I'm not even talking about like social progressivism. I'm talking about just like straight up economic policies that put dollars in pockets. Okay? Let's see.
A few things I believe. Middle-class families, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. But most of all, that instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Do you think Kennedy voters will tip the scale? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. If you're curious, Dems got $100 million donated during the convention's 4 days. This is 2x as much as Trump raised in all of July, including his convention in the end. Hold on. Including the convention in the middle. Dems also running ads like this, one in every swing state, 2x the rate of Trump camp, including North Carolina, and potentially ads running in Florida and Texas now. Are those small donors or big donors? What is this? Kamala came to slay by Maureen Dowd. If anything, most Americans are socially more conservative, but very progressive economically. My parents are hogs. Will agree to nationalizing oil. Yeah, that's it. Like Jason from Vancouver, thank you for the 5 tier 1 gift to subs. It's actually insane how our average favorability went from 36 to 45% in a month. Do you think it will go down after the DNC? No, it won't, because this is a media backed campaign. Going to the middle is a media play. You can keep riding the wave and the momentum. They will not fuck up the bag, okay? They will not fuck your bag up. They hate Trump. If Kamala Harris keeps like to a moderate message, then she does not get any of those attacks. That's why all of the conversations from these people are like, it's so wonderful that she's tacking to the middle. This is like basically Joe Biden's agenda, but like with a more refreshing perspective, because it's being delivered by someone who's not dead. So I'm not saying her attacking in the middle in this regard is specifically going to be a campaign killer. Okay. I'm stating that there are a lot more votes being left aside and a long-term prospect for the Democratic Party to basically run the table every fucking election. But they're not doing that because they don't care about that. They care more about the direct, that would put them at odds with their corporate donors. And they care more about that.
Time, 37 minutes. And something that's very interesting about her presentation, she obviously would be a trailblazing candidate. She would be the first woman president. She would be the first black president who is a woman. She would be the first, at least half Indian president. She didn't mention any of that at all. I mean, I guess she.
Yeah, that's a good thing, man, because she's already wearing it. Like everybody knows that already. Just don't. There's no like that doesn't matter. What the fuck?
Believes that it speaks for itself. And that's not how she's running. She's running as a candidate to represent all of the American people, even those people with whom she disagrees and who disagree with her. Just kind of an interesting fact that she really didn't note it.
This also, in my opinion, is 100% a demonstration of the fraudulence of liberal media with those kinds of narratives. Ain't nobody fucking likes that shit. Okay, you have to vote for me or else you hate women type shit. The media did that with Hillary Clinton because that's what Hillary Clinton was doing. But nobody liked that. Liberals didn't like that either. Nobody votes like that. It's so stupid. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what someone's background is. Maybe Republicans do to a certain degree so they can like deploy the minority shield to be like, I can't believe you're calling me racist. Look at this black guy that's in my party, you know? But it's just like that appeals to nobody. In my opinion, it's just not a very appealing prospect. People care about policies, dude. At the end of the day, people want things, okay? Money in their pockets, financial security. These are the things that they care about. You have to show them what you're going to give them, and you have to demonstrate that you are going to fight for them.
At all, she talked about her mom facing discrimination, but not her.
And that, it was so subtle, but that was the way that she sort of wove it in, talking about, I just pulled up that part of her speech, talking about the way people would treat, she watched the way people would treat her mother. But her mother just kind of said, move on and focus on other things. And I thought that that was her way of saying, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm focusing on what I'm here for, what I'm going to do, not who I am, whether that is her gender or her race and her ethnicity. And that it was powerful in and of itself. Now, this is a campaign where you have all of these, everything that has been going on online for 4 weeks has been white guys for Kamala, black men for Kamala, so on and so forth. So people have been kind of dividing up in order to prove that she has different demographics behind her. But when it comes to her and the historic nature of her candidacy, she just let it speak for itself exactly as you said, and that is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's also because she knows that that is not where she needs to grow. It's not where she needs to expand her support. The people in this room are the faithful. You know, the black women don't need a whole lot of convincing. Maybe black men need a little bit more convincing than black women, but these are not the groups that need to be convinced to vote for Kamala Harris. She was speaking today for a broader swath of the electorate who wants to understand whether she's prepared to be commander-in-chief. They want to understand experience and the skills, the values, all of that. And it felt to me like a speech that was written for them. And as somebody who's talked to her about her race and her gender and her upbringing, she doesn't spend a lot of time on it when you talk to her about it. She understands the role that it's played in how she's come up in the political world and in her and how she understands the world, but she does not spend a lot of time talking about it. I think by this point many people are familiar with her mother's saying, which is, you may be the first, but don't let yourself be the last. And I think that it really is, the reason she repeats that so much is because she doesn't really want to focus as much on the first part of that saying. She wants to focus on the other part of it, which is about what comes after her and what she actually does with the power that she's been able to accumulate.